world is ready for a new story. So, in many areas of business, entrepreneurship, and the place where the people.
We're Jenny and Greg Kirkowski. Hey, we wanted to take a moment and just reach out with you and share you our journey, share you what we're looking for, because we know there's some folks out there that we're reaching out to that we want to help expand our story and really our mission in a different way. And, with that, I'm going to have Jenny just give you a quick blurb of what our purpose is, and then I'm going to wrap it up with just a few stories and examples.
Right. Our purpose is to give people an opportunity to share their journey with others and to find more value in their life's lesson than the value that they carry in their wallet.
Wow, that's pretty good. Isn't that a cool deal? See, some of the stuff that Jenny talked about, we're going to touch on. We're going to go about 10 minutes here. But I want to talk to you a little bit about our version and our story. My story starts when I was about 15, and Jenny starts at a different time. But, at 15 years old, I remember how life changed and how when my brother and I dove into a water up in Sleeping Bear Dunes up in Michigan, that he instantly, at 6'5", busted his neck, and he twisted his vertebrae, and he became a quadriplegic almost instantly. And I remember swimming out and rolling him over, and his first words were, "Help me, I can't move." And, as I went through that whole journey, I remembered obstacles and what people were telling my brother what he couldn't do and what he had to accept. And it wasn't possible that he was ever going to be able to move from the hands down. And being a quadriplegic, you're generally from the middle of the chest or neck down. And as my brother and I looked at that, even our parents, our family members, doctors were telling my brother just to accept where he was and that life wasn't going to bring you very far. Well, fast forwarding that later, he ended up going into the Special Olympics and being in one of those racing chairs and actually playing basketball in one of those racing chairs. And Jenny didn't know him at that time, but
I never met him, but I know the story.
Yeah, he ended up being a high school basketball coach and a high school track coach, taking his teams on to state championships as a quadriplegic.
Yep.
And he drove on his own, and he could live on his own, and it was just amazing because my brother and I at a young age always seen past what people normally expected because of what the world told them. Later as that fast forwarded, I've had my own experiences, and then I know Jenny's got a few that later, I won't steal her thunder at another time as a part of this journey, that I later, in later years, broke my neck. I broke the occipital condyle, the fuse box in the back of your head, and happened to be the same injury that Dale Earnhardt, the NASCAR driver, had died from. And I was clinically dead for about 9 minutes. And because of that journey I had with my brother, I knew that when they told me it was going to take 3 years to heal, that if I dug down and I did what I knew that I could do and I could let God lead. And, as I learned in some of the folks with the readings I've been around Les Brown and John Maxwell and Mike Murdoch, all those different people throughout the years. And there's a little version called Don't Listen to the SNIOPs. And that's a book that you can learn about. And I'll talk to you about what that is at another time maybe. But I understood that I wanted to get out of that injury. I had a family. I had forgot how to talk and walk and breathe. I had to do all that all over again. And I somehow was blessed to be able to do that in 9 months. Wow. 9 months. I had a wife and 3 kids, a newborn baby. And it was because of the experience that I had with my brother. And really just going years forward, prior to that, I'd built a large business, with the big A up here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was a part of that for a very long time. My parents were self-employed when I was younger and then went on to do corporate things. So being an entrepreneur and seeing outside the box was really put in me in a very young age. And Jenny, it was with you too, because your father was kind of a pastor, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a lay preacher.
So he was a lay preacher. And, Jenny
My brother is a pastor.
His brother's a pastor. And she has another story that she can get into. Being in the Philippines, at times her life was actually threatened. Imagine going back and forth to school or looking at the TV or hearing the radio and your family being threatened by, what was that, the local mob or mafia over there? Yes, the rebels, and she hasn't shared that full story yet, but I'm giving you just a snippet of why we are to where we came from. And, our journey took us through, meeting, Shelby Smith on a cruise ship, of hearing my story, one of the writers for Chicken Soup for the Soul, the authors, and that got me into speaking for a little bit there with being regards to Chicken Soup for the Soul and speaking for Youth for Christ, and having been a pastor for many years and counseling couples as marriages and addiction recovery and pornography recovery, and just helping coach people along the way in their lives. And as an entrepreneur in my business, I ended up, my goal was to help build leaders and to help create them to be independent so they can move forward. And as we know now, we know that the big thing that carried us through is Jenny and I started to understand that we were co-creating with God.
Absolutely.
That everything was inside of us, and that we just had to connect more with our inner self. And, I didn't believe in a lot of the meditation and heart chakras and all that stuff throughout the years. But as I got going further, I understood that was a real value, and I needed to do that. I didn't need to, but I chose to because I wanted to improve. And my wife's been a great example for that, on connecting to soul.
It does help you a lot. Yes.
It does.
As an entrepreneurs, we need those.
We need those.
We need to have a time to calm, and to think. That's the time for you to really listen to your soul during meditation. So I would,
that's a strong path. And Jenny and I, that journey that it's taken on, there's a lot more on. My 15-year-old got into a car accident as a passenger and had to have a skull removed. Spent some time up in Mary Free Bed, one of the best rehab hospitals in the nation up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I literally watched him further than me, further than my brother in some aspects. Literally had to learn how to know what these were and how to breathe on his own. And I remember Jenny being present the first day that he was able to pick a spoon up in the hospital and feed yogurt to himself.
It was amazing that
he just had to learn how to redo that again. And she watched this on film I still have, where it took Isaac 5 of us to help him take his first few steps.
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
So there's a lot of stuff that God gave us opportunities. We haven't had any adversities. We haven't had challenges. We haven't had problems. I know that's funny to say. We've had many opportunities to learn.
Yes.
And which has brought us to why we're talking to you today. We've coached and mentored a lot of people over the years, and we've wanted to bring value to people so we can improve their lives. But the one thing we've missed along the way as we've done that is helping creating value in not just in their lives, but more value in how we can help take that to a broader level. And as Christ had 12 people he had found that weren't some of the best examples at the time. Some were murderers and adulterers and thieves, but he took those people, those 12, and he was able to develop them into leaders and to send them out to the world to share his message. So over the last year, Jenny and I have been kind of brought back into the entrepreneurial world. We left it for a while. And because of some leadership, and I'm plugged into some of the greatest people out there in the world. Dexter Yeager was a good friend of mine, and just a lot of different other people. That value in the teaching with learning from Les Brown and Bob Proctor, bless his heart's passed away, and John Maxwell, Maxwell and different things. All that stuff's been just so exciting. So why are we here? Well, along the way, we had bumped into
It's okay.
a gentleman through another entrepreneurial business, and Roderick, I understand you guys have had some relationships with, along the way. He's a partnership of mine, and he came to us and he said, "Greg, I want to put together an academy to be able to coach people, but not just coach people, but to help people change their lives. And how do I do that?" And Jenny and I looked at that, and today we know that during COVID, that the world was ready for a new story, both in the entrepreneurial world, both in the business world, both in friendships and community. And the way that entrepreneurial businesses are being built today are very different, or a little different than what they were before. A lot of the basics are there. And I think we say it needs to be built differently because people forgot the basics. So what really interested me is, I know that as I looked at an opportunity, Jenny and I really had our heart, soul had wanted to go out and start sharing our story again. Not for our own glory, but for the glory of others. Yes. I've had my name in lights and different things and all that stuff on stages, and that's not the driven of it. All that may be necessary, but really we want to help share our story and our opportunities of learn over the years, so we can help create confidence in people that they can go out and take the stories that God's allowed them to go through and that they've successfully chosen to go through to be able to do that. So, there's 3 things that, as we wrap this up, we know that everything we look at, that we're careful that what we put our name on, our name has to have three things. We have to have good people, Christian people, following God, and however you recognize that, whether it's Mother Earth, whether it's Buddha, whether it's God, whether it's Jehovah, whether it's Yahweh, whatever that is, we respect and love that, as long as that's a part of what we're doing. And then the platform, what does that look like? And then what's the purpose? Everything is here in the opportunities that we're looking at now. And part of what we're doing to launch this, we've been able to organize a lot of different things. But what we want to do is like Jenny said, we want to see more value in people's story than what we do in their wallet. Now, we understand the investment in themselves is so very important. But there's so many people that have an amazing story that have opportunities to learn, that they don't have a wallet to be able to get that out. And then there's other people that have a big wallet that have kind of a story that their story turns into a bunch of parables on stage and in books. And only a part of that is true. I've met Rudy Rudiger before many times, and he'd tell you very little of that movie is even true. And he doesn't even own the rights to that most of it was a parable. And the last scene was the end result, which was true. So we want to flip that around. So what we're looking for is we're looking for people that want to invest in this journey, that have been a part of this, that are maybe on the other end, that say, listen, Greg, you know what? You're right. There's a lot of people out there that need that. And I know the industry's changing. You got, a lot of your big speakers, they're going to be getting ready to retire. Your Les Browns, bless his heart, Bob Proctor and John Maxwell, all those different people. Some of those are going to be moving on. They're going to be retiring, and the energy is going to be different when those kids take it over. I fully believe here at Full Circle that now being, having ownership in this company, as Jenny and I have talked with Roderick about coming in as partners in this, we've decided that
good guy.
He's a very good guy, and we all got our talents.
He brings.
Oh, he's got a lot of energy. He really does. But there's so much that he was looking for that he needed. So we've been able to create a lot of structure in that platform.
Yes.
And we also know that Roderick and I need to get out there and start being able to share our story, not for our glory, but to bring that energy to other people, so we can bring them to our company. But with that, I wanted to share that with you. And there's more details that I'd like to talk to each one of you independently on for just a few minutes, as you decide that you want to be a part of this journey, and investing in this opportunity to be able to watch this grow. Because every one of these companies, I know a lot of the backstages on how they started, and everybody started with a hand up. They didn't start with a handout. And that's really what we're looking for, is folks that can give us a handout. We have the heart, we have the people, we have the platform, and we have the purpose. So, with that, we're super excited just to do what we do, and we know that God is leading all that Jenny and I do.
Yes.
And with Roderick, and I'm so excited about the staff and the team that we've been able to organize in just a very short time. So, and with that, guys, we love you a bunch. Jenny, is there anything else you have to say?
Well, we know the world is ready for a new story. So, in many areas of business, entrepreneurship, and the place where the people and platform drive the purpose of their journey. So, let's do this, guys.
And with that,
we can do this. Let's go.
We're going to go. Hey, we'll see you soon,
Share
guys.
your story.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.